Today, I'd like to share with you my experience of how I made a 65,000 worth of renovation in just under 30 grand. Tip number 1, compare the price. Most of the people know that when you are choosing a vendor, you need to compare a few of them. But what you don't know is that exactly how many vendors do you need to interview to find a good price. The general rule of thumb is that you need to compare at least 3. But from my experience, I compared up to 7 because it wasn't until the 5 or 6 or 7 vendor that I understand the wide scope of price points and also offering they can be. The quotes that I have received from the 7 vendors went from 9,000 all the way up to 65,000 for the renovation. So when you're getting the quotes, make sure that you ask the vendor to separate out the labor versus the material. Because if you're doing one-stop shopping, they usually inflate the price of the material. But when you ask them to itemize just a rough number of how much each material can cost, then you have a better control to negotiate for the price. In my case, I finally chose a Chinese vendor who is just starting out and want the opportunity. So I was able to get a cheaper price, but also we spoke the same language, so there's also some affiliation discount. And the agreement was that I will pay for the labor while I purchase the material on my own. Granted, the most expensive vendor of the 65,000 guaranteed that the work is going to be on time with high quality material, high quality of labor. But from my point of view is that I am not in the professional field, and when it's a renovation, when it's new, it already looks so good. So I didn't need to go for the highest quality. Plus, I wouldn't know if it's the highest quality. I just know that for sure it's the highest price. I was able to start at a very affordable foundation of 10,000 labor cost to start. And this is for a 1-bedroom apartment. Tip number 2 is how to avoid using designer or architect. I do agree that those professionals provide so much more value to your home renovation, but you are not getting that for free. You are also paying so much more for their service and really bring up your budget by a lot. First, ask yourself, can you do just the cosmetic renovation? And cosmetic here doesn't just mean very small things. That also includes your entire kitchen renovation, entire bathroom renovation, the floor, the ceiling, and the wall. So that already provides you a lot of imagination to improve your home. But if you do decide you want to make a structural change, for example, reconfigure the kitchen, moving the kitchen to the bedroom, moving the bedroom to the living room, changing a lot of things, then I do agree that will be the time to include an interior designer or an architect. There are also ways that you can get the insights, the ideas from the architect or designer, but without paying for it. And the trick here is that when you are getting the quotes from your contractors, some of those companies do also provide the design service. And as part of the pitch to you, they provide you a blueprint of how your place will look like. So it will be a drawing, sometimes just by hand, sometimes professionally over some software. And these are the material that you can keep even if you're not taking the service in the end. So you are able to get the designer's input without paying a dime. There are also some furniture stores, for example, IKEA or some of the individual ones, that when you go shopping for the furnitures or the appliances, they do provide on-site service to also draw out a blueprint of what you describe. So that will be another source where you can get some design thinking, but without paying. Moving on to tip number 3, how do I keep the material cost low? Earlier, I mentioned about when you negotiate with a contractor, you can separate the service and the material. But then the key question here is that how do I find the cheap material? I like to categorize my home renovation material shopping list into 3 major categories. Number 1 is the I just want to get as cheap as I can category. Things that fall under this category includes the foundation of home renovation, including the tiles and stones. The tiles on the wall and also floor in the bathroom, and the stones, for example, the granite countertop in the kitchen. These are things that you can get at the famous stores such as Home Depot. However, you can also go to some smaller shops which might be able to offer you a better discount. For example, in New York, I love to go to College Point, that's closer to Flushing, Queens. If you want to hear more about College Point, make sure that you check out my other video, which I will provide the link below. Category 2 are material or things that I want to buy the famous one, but I don't want to pay the famous price. This is most applicable to home appliances, including your stove, your microwave, your dishwasher, and your oven. And so my trick here is that I like to go to, for example, Home Depot or PC Richardson and shop around. Usually they will have 1 or 2 items that are on discount, and sometimes if you ask them or if you offer that, how about I buy one of those floor items? Because you see, the price they listed is usually for the brand new items that they have in the inventory. But if you offer to buy the one that is here, this particular one at a store, because it's been out there showing to people, so sometimes there are incentives for the managers to offer you a cheaper price. Category number 3, things that I want to try it out and potentially return them. Now that you have the foundation ready, you have your stone, your tiles, and also the appliances, now it's time to really focus on the details. For example, what kind of vanity do you like, or what kind of faucet, material, or the towel hangers. And these are the materials, sometimes it's very hard to visualize, or even when you visualize, it just looks so different when you put it there. So for those things, I like to purchase just online, for example, Wayfair, Amazon, because it's easier to receive them and also easier to return if later on I decide this just not go with my style. Altogether, material alone in my home renovation of the kitchen and bathroom in total cost me $12,000. Tip number 4, one-stop shop or multiple shops shop. I highly recommend that you don't do a one-stop shop, meaning that you shouldn't rely on one contractor to finish the entire renovation for you. It is more convenient, it is also time saving, however, it's not budget saving. After my discussion with the 7 contractors, I realized that there are a few things that I want probably are not that easy for them to do. However, if I hire some expert in those areas, they might be able to do it more efficiently and also at a more affordable price. Therefore, in addition to my general contractor, I have 2 other vendors or 2 other contractors that I work on later on. First is the wall and also crown molding guy. And I also added a pressurized wall with a French door, the one here next to me, which allow me to separate the space into multifunctional use, but also because it's pressurized, it doesn't require the building's approval as I'm living in the co-op. And that saves me from hiring a designer to show the structural change. Overall together, the wall cost me $5,500, including the wall itself, flattening that, and also the crown molding. And the pressurized wall, it's a little bit under $2,000. Tip number 5, be willing to give up certain things. Another rule of thumb in home renovation is that they always say whatever you budget at the beginning, add another 30% and that will be your final price. But from my experience, it's very difficult to keep it under 30% more. For example, I really want to have a marble white bathroom. But after shopping at the store, I realized that the price is just very high. So, as an alternative, I chose the ceramic, which have the marble look and feel, but not the price tag. There's also one thing that I learned. When you purchase the natural stone, for example, marble or granite, because it's natural, not only the initial purchase cost is very high, the future maintenance is also very high and time consuming. But just because you want to keep the cost low doesn't mean you compromise for everything. I do want to have a granite kitchen countertop and I was not willing to give it up. The solution that I found was that given it's a smaller apartment, that I don't need as much granite material. So I went to the store and asked them, do you have any bigger construction that you have some leftover material I can choose from? Luckily, there has been some construction at a commercial site. So they have some leftover material that I can pick at a very, very low price because if I don't get it, no one is going to get it. Those are the tricks that help me navigate through the home renovation process, keeping my price low, but making sure that I get everything I want. Instead of paying $65,000 to one company, I added my own research, my own effort, and my own style to this very fun and exciting home renovation journey. If you like today's content, make sure that you click on the subscribe button below and turn on the notification. I will see you next time.